Malaila mali e aho e ki moe lelei ai tonga ono kotoa, fia ke o talitali lelei ki mo tonu ki o mo ngahi o ngongo, moe le te o kai o maa e televisione tonga ki he hoani, i he wakaiko ia ki ngahi olo i o ngongo. Ha e lea e ena a fifioa ai mistiu me whakamanatu o tuku aho i kolisi kotupo, mo hana whakamau inga i koloa e tonga ki tāpi ki to tangata hoko. Maha ai pensini ka tau ta lolo Pacific Energy i he lolo tongani meni ihi o ngahi pausa. Pea ma o ngahi lau i paanga loi i he whotunga lau i palestiki i tongani. O kuto iepa me ngahi taranoa kehe na iangi, pehe ai tau wakai ki ngahi o ngongo mi he mala e sipoti kai uma ai to unga ko ia o i ea. Ko e wakai lewa eni ki he whakai ki ko au liliani polu tele. Na e ha e lea e he ena a fifio king tupo wana mo kuini na spau o, ai misiu me whakamanatu o tuku aho ai kolisi ko tupo aniafi ke a fio tono ke ngahi koloa au tauhi i he misiu meni, pea ke whakamau i ngai koloa ai tonga i hono tauhi ki he tau tangata hoko. Kei kota tāpua ki mo i whakakoloa eni ki e kolisi ko tupo i hono ha e lea e he ena a fifio king tupo wano ai ako angani, mga tunga mi he mau inga i polo kalama whakari ali ne whotu o he kolisini ke whamanatua aki ai te au ni mangufuluta o e konistu tone i loa koe tonga whanua mono ia. Ne a whio tonu heni e na a whiwhio ke he kotoa o i ngai koloa a tonga o kutau he misi umeni talo mi he konga ki mua i tahi wawa walu. I he whamatala tuku taha o kune tonga ngai kina misi ume a e kolisi ko tupo ana a tiola na ane pehe. Ko e lahi taha o ngahi koloa ku tauhi ko mea ofai kuini o tonga kone unga whanua, kuini salo te tupo tonu pehe ki he kauno pele o e aho ko ia.
Lau koloa, koe whaftai pe mo e lau monu i he la koe whielelea na whio ke haelea ai ki inga oe koe ni koe pe. Mahau koe ngahi mea makehe pe me he koloa pe o stau pe i hen, koe ngawe e whanau ako. Koe tui koe koloa makehe ia. Koloa motu aia e whanua tauhi i apini. Te tok tānak lewa ke ai ki nau koe ngahi writings, mostly koe writings pe ai whanau ako. Ke kawa e tamsi koe ni, koe hae nau whakaukau mo e nau whaam ki he kahao e koni stutone ki he nau kahao.
Nā ne pehe aku toi whaingo fuangi ai ngāwe e whanau i ngahi ahoni i he whikumi ki a ngahi historia i hono whaata ke nau lava o hū ki loto o mamata i ngahi koloa aku tauhi i he misi umeni.
Koe kau mo e mau whanau ako, ki mua ai, na e hange pe misi umea ha whetu tapai ke nau hū ke ai. Until recently, ko mau tok whengan ke lava ke nau engage e whanau ako. Nau mai o ala ke objects, do source analysis, observations. With that, then nau lau tokon ke nato. Nau ilo ke koloa e whanua, mo tau ngahi tala o tonga. And hopefully, nau lava o tohi pe maak nau tolu ha nau historia ke kahao.
Na e whaari aria i heni e ngai whakamatala e whanau o kau ki ei e mau ne whao e taha e whanau ko Aisake ke junior o whikau anki mo e konistu tone mo ene mahau inga ki hene mo oi mo kaha o. O ha heni ene whakaha i hene mau ai ngawe mahau inga ku whai e he konistu tone ki hana malui ai kakai o tonga mo e whanua whakalukufua. Ne kau ki heni ene whamamawha i he whalafola e uluanki wha ai lahi masiva no kakai i he masiva i lo. Ai ene pehe ai e Aisake ke junior ko ene whakaamuia i he ako kune whai ke toi whekumiangi ki he poto na e whalafola ki ai atu pou loangita te whito ki he poto o kutala noa ki ai ai tohi palawea pē. Koe konga eni i hene ngahi whakaamu mo ene whakaanaua ne tohi i hene mau o whakahaha i he misi umeni. Nā ne whakahaheni ene ngo i whiewhia i he whainga maalie kone a osia ke whakatau whalafola hanga tonu ki hene a whio ta te whito i ono whakaha ene ilo whakau aki mo i kondistu tone mo historia o tonga. Lorotonga eni ne whai heni mo i whakame ite me whanau ako i kolisi o kau ki ai ai tama pilinisi tau whaahau manu mataongo. Kua whakapapau i lorotonga ni ai osi ai lolo pensini ai taha i he ongo kau taha lolo a tonga ai a koe Pacific Energy i lorotonga ni Ko hiri eni hono mau e hongongo le dio mo televisione tonga ha whakamatala whalalaanga me he kautahani. O ku pehene ia e palani ke tu utai tongani i he wikeni e waka lolo e kautahani ka o ku kei hoko e palopalema ki e waka i fisi. I ene pehe o ku te eke mahino ai pe whakapapau i lolo tongani ai taimi pau e whalau mai ai e waka utalolo ki tongani. E au tonu e ngongo le dio mo e televisione tonga ki ni ia ngai pausa i Tongatapu ni ne mahino ai maha au pito e pensini i e pausa i pahu mo kolomotua. Ne ngoi ose ni ia ngai pausa ka ku kei whainga mali e whakapensini pe e ngahi pausa ai kautaha o talolo ko ia o kuna oto me he todol. Ko whakapapau i eni me pule whawhonua a tonga e ngahi lau i paanga loi i tongani i he whautunga tataupe ka aku pāki eni kalasi ko ia o e pelestiki. Ko e lau i paanga loi ko mao koe i tongani o ka hokei e paanga te au, paanga ni manoa mo i paanga e nima. Ko e whakaiki iki mo senolita tuiwai.
I e whamatala ko toko mai me panke whawhanua a tonga koe whautunga o i paanga te au loi, ko nau mao o ko pāki e whautunga paanga plastiki pe polima, ka koe lau i paanga mooni o ko pāki pe pape. Ko toi le ko te panke pule whawhanua a tonga lau i paanga ni manoa loi, ko i paanga loi ko eni ko pāki i tonga ni, o kā mai koe lai pe pape. Pea o ko toi si iange ai lahi ai paanga ni manoa loi, o whatatau ki lahi o i paanga ni manoa mooni. Nā e toi maa mo i paanga ni maloi e whautunga ni pāki pe i he lai pepa, ka koe paanga mo oni o ku pākia i he whautunga fo'o o tatau mo i paanga o Nuusila o ngai aki ai polima. O ku mahino kei hā mai pe ngawe ake paanga o ku iai i misi o Seastupo nima, ka o stapui pe i kai ke te tali ai ngawe aki ai paanga ko ia. Kai kehi ko tūkua te whatukanga me panke pule tonga ki ngai businessi, ke toi mo longo mo uiangi ano siofe ngai paanga ko ngai ake he kakai. Ka hui ko lai whainga maalia ke whiawe ake ai paanga loi i tongani.
O ku kei whamama whai e tongani e nau kei tuku pāpe ke toka ngai kina e ngahi ngāwe ki he tuu loa. Me ngahi whatamaki pe he ki he mateu toka mua lolotonga eni a hono whakailonga i he wikeni i Brazil ai tūtu uni ngāwe hua noa toru noa e whiririwa ke e a me ngahi ngāwe toka mua ki ha whakatamaki. Koe konga eni e ne whakamamafa na e whai lolotonga ai taha ngai whakataha i he conference whakamamanalahi ki hono toka ngai kina koe ha whiririwa ki oi ea. I e polo kalamani ne kāwatu ki ai i whakawhawhonga me he waa ki hono malui ai pui malui a tonga aloi seo whiwhita o ne whakahāheni. E nau whakaamu ke whakaivia ai ka vingani ke au atu ki ngahi tōku i koloko toa pē me ngahi motu ai ngā ue toka mua pe ngahi mateu toka mua i e whakaamu ke e wana a whaiwhaiange kuali e kina hataha i he taimi o ku tō mai ai ngahi whakatamaki whaina tula. Ai e koe konga pe eni e nau whenga ke toi mateu te wangi e ngahi whunua e Pasifikita te whita ki tongani ka hoko mai ha whakatamaki. Pehe e whiwhita, kua osi whai e ngahi ngāwe ki hono whakaivia mo whakaralaka ai ngahi whonga ngāwe a tongani ki e ngāwe toka mua. O a o ki hono wakai i e ngahi tōtu uni ngāwe, i e whakaamu e mau ai whakamatala mo i ngāwe toka mua e he kakai i e ngahi tōku i kolo tuu laweraweli ki he whakatamaki. Nā ne whamalo i a heni e ngahi tokoni mo i whingai aki kotoa pē kua whai me he waa whakamatala ea whakamamanalahi i e mahino ko mahino heni e nau tū whakataha i hono tau i e pole maho i ngani ke tau te whito ke whakatu uloa ai ngahi whanua i ke Pasifiki. Pe he whiwhita i ngahi whakataha ko nau whai loro tongani pe ke ngahi whewaiwai aki kotoa pē i he ilo me tau kei o kune loto lahi whe ungai. Te nau malama kotoa pē o whakapapau i hahala whanonga o ku malu mo tu uloa ma i ngahi whanua e Pasifiki pe ke nau takitaha malama pē o malu i ki nau tolu. Koe taha pe eni ngahi whakataha anga lolotonga i kop tolu noa i Brazil i he whakaamu ke iai hawhaunga ke tau i aki ai pole o e whiririwaki o i ea. O kuia he tai lili e society tau hitohi a tonga ki he ngawe aki he whanau waka o kuna waka i mala e whakatau hitohi. Ai ngahi polo kalama wha kompiuta o kuhake mai i he kōngani o iloa koe AI. Koe tokanga he ku uesia heni ai ngā ue whakatau hitohi i tongani o tau te whito ki e tuunga tau ai ilo me tau kei a tangata mo whewhine ki ngā ue pe me a whakatau hitohi. Senolita tui vai mai whakaikiki.
I he whai ki eke a ngonga le ti o Tonga me Palestine tauhi tohi a Tonga klifi hei muli nane pehe. Ko i ngā ue whakatauhi tohi o kuna tula ke ngoi aki pe ai ilo ai tangata, ko hiok whima o ke whakama opo lelei ai pa a ngā pehe ki ngai whakaukau fo o ki he tauhi tohi. I hene pehe ko toka ngā, ka hui ko ngoi ake whāna wako i he lolo tongani ai polo kalama wha kompiuta koe AI o whakawhalala ki ai enau whi ngā ko, ka i kai kua whaunga lelei ia.
Yo hala ya pito. Society ko kauta to Tonga teknologi ke teknologia. Ko huma ko ne teknologia ko ni ko hala ko hinga ko quality ko tunga ilo fe unga. E ma ko he na to wa ko ta to. Ko hinga fo ko o taha e white toi whatongia e koe kau toi kono. Whakama opo ai mea whakapaanga. O analyso. Ia whakama opo ia. Ia ere wao report. Ia awere vai aki he kau pure. Pe kau mawhai pure koe. Whakoe pe ko. Ngai kup whakau aki. Ke tokoni ka nau tolu. Ke nau whahatutu uni. Make decision. Aku tana nga vetongia ko kauta to. Sai ko mia ko te fao. Ko mo ha ko ke ko nga ka wa ko wepe ngai maga ngai assignment ni ngai be. O na fai ka kuma teknologia ta minie ke foi para ma ko plagiarism because ko whakainga ko me be. Para ta pene teknologia ko artificial intelligence ko AI. Mandi ko ngai mea ko ni ko hande mau pe kita ya information yo wa hu ge pa na mai na toria ngai fo matala pa anga ngai fo matala fi mau ko tau to o tu pe wa ho hala ya pito se ni ko ta to ngani ko ngai ya ko te siare ke ki ho mala na fa na nga ke fa fo nga ko ni mala wa pe ke na mau ngai fo lo fa ka ko mo pe o time ko te ke ha o ke mala ko nga ue pa tau toi o ya ka tunga ia ke la ba ko fa o le fa to ya ko tau toi ko mala ko wa nga hi kai defino i moni me ko principle ko concept o ke te la ba ki ta ya o ilo ke ki ai te hanga o nga ko to ilo nga aki
Lolo tonga ini hina te pehe hei muli o ata pea society tauhi tohi a Tonga ke kole tokoni ke whāna wako o kuna wako i he mala e tauhi tohi. Kai au ai whawhalala ke he AI, ko uhi o iai tai lili ke he tuunga tau ai ilo mo tau ke e whāna wako, ko uhi ko ngai aki i tongani i e kaha u.
Popo mo mau tau mua. Te mau tokoni lahi au pito ke ngai ako te siare ko tongani. Mala e koe neta tohi ke nau tolu manako ko ke reso ni mea malawa ke ngau whare i ko kau memi palo tonga tola hai apu ki nau tolu mao nau ngai i whaelong whaako ngai malunga ke master ni ngai whanua ke i muri i tongani
Ko e whaame society tauhi tohi a Tonga ke teo i hako tupai whanua ke nau ke ima o i tau ke ila o ku tāu o i kai ke whawhalala ke teknolosia, ka hui e malawa pe ke hala ngai whaitutu uni tupu me he whawhalala ke ngai ilo whakompiuta.
Ko e wakailewa e niki he tuonga o e ea, i hono tuku mai me wa awakai matangi a Tonga i whaamoto mai poto ngāwe Meidek.
Tai lere ki motor ke ta whamatala ea koe ke whiawhini, wakai koe ia ki he talanoa lalahi koe i he whamatala ea. Patonga iang liu kai whanga maari e ki ngā unu maha o tāmaki uha, ki kotoa koe au tonga e ka whaiwhanonga tu e ngai koe ka ako mai. Tau te whito ki whala i te, whaiwhanonga tu ai ke whaasi au ke ni, pa pe befo ke moni te kau ka au. Koe au tāmaki uha koe ni ki me ki ni ka pui mai kotoa pe o tonga. Malawa whoki ke pele pēla e kere kere, i taim te tau pe, o ku mauinga pito ke tānaki koe au pai. I misa te laike koe aho ni, ni lahange peke almaari e kotoa koe au tonga, ku ke hempe whaki au au whiam, whaki watu mo tau mama pe, i ni whaiwhanonga mai koe e aho ni i o tonga. Ke ko mawhana taha koe e ane me ke nofo ia ke kilisi o siasi e ua walu ki e tō noa. Ke ilan te taupe, le yangi hiki pe ai hapiri, e kotoa koe tō ngahi mwhai, no mamai koe i he ahoni. Pakai koe ke o tonga ke aha koe nima koe ka hako mai, whatonga yangi, ki toka pe alo maarie, pe ka mata ke ne mawahe atu, ki he o tonga ka ngā unu mai a o tāmaku uha, tau te whito ki he whalaite, o whae whanonga tuai ki he moni te koea o ka hao. Me ke o uha o tonga, i he whae whanonga koea i he wikeni, pe whoki ke ka hao. Whamatala ea koea ki he whiapini, pia moi pōni, whatonga yange, ia pepe ngā maare ki apan ki uha tu umuto mama, e ria koea hapai, Tongatapu mo e wawa, pepe whoki, ki he ngā ria ni i wawau. Pia tinta tau pe, ia pe moi au fia, a te lahiange peke alo maare koto e ria koea ngoni ua. Moko taha koe whamawhana ki he pōni, me ke tilisi o siasi e ua, ke ua tolu, e ria koea Tongatapu mo e ua wha ki wawau pe mga pai, wani maki e ngoni ua. E hawi me ke mamalo ke e ria koea ngoni ua, a pe ki he maritahi ta nima ki he hoa, pe a toenga koea o tonga, hangi iki pe he pōni, me ke nofo ki he maritahi o fulu ki he hoa. I ne whai whanonga koea pongpongi, whatonga yane, me ke alo maari e pe kotoa o tonga, tuke hange pe e ria koea hapai, pe whoki Tongatapu mo ua, e la hange pe ke au fia, pe alo maari au pito ke e ria koea o ngoni ua. Mawhana taha koe hawiri a pe whamawhana, me ke a pe ki he tilisi o siasi ua walu ki he tau noa, ki kotoa koe au tonga, pe koe hawiri me ke mamalo, o tonga ki a pongpong, a pe ki he maritahi taha nima ki he hoa. Taimi koe ai tahi, tau maari e ki he whiawhini, hawhi koe ai walu, maa toka ki a hengengi, tamini te wanima koe ki he ua. La apea moi mahina, me ke hopo la a pongpongi, e toi mini te walu ki he ono, pe hopo mahina, osmi te wanima pe mi taha ki a hengengi. Whamatala ea koe ke aha koe nima koe ka hoko mai ki Nuku'alofa, lehang peki almaari ki a pongpongi, Patonga yange mi he whalaite, whae whanonga ke moni te wikahau, e lahiang ke ai whenga maari ke uha atu e wātai koe ia. Mawhana taha koe ea, e a peke tilisi o siasi e waono ki he wahiwa. Wha malo atu he mea mai, mu mea.
Ko e whamatanga e a pe ki hawani ka tau toi wakayangi pehe ke ngahi ulo i o ngongo. Ha e lea e ena a whiwhionga ai mistiu me whakamanatu o tuku aho ni kolisi ko tupou mo na whamau inga i kolo ai tonga ki tahi ki to i tangata hoko. Maha ai pensini ka tau ta lono Pacific Energy i he loro tongani mo ni ihi o ngahi pausa. Pea ma o ngahi lau i paanga loi i he whotonga lau i palestiki i tongani. Mo e kakato e pia o ngahi o ngongo mo le dio kai uma ai televisione tonga ki e hawani me whakaamu ni au taki kotoa to pia ki lato whane kotoa. Kai malo e tau ke i whiau mai ka mō me a.
Good evening and welcome to your English news package with radio and television Tonga News for tonight. Making headlines, Their Majesties King Tupou VI and Queen Anaspau will visit the Nuku'alofa Museum at Tupou College to view their special exhibition for the 150th Constitution anniversary. Pacific Energy runs short on fuel supply, generating panic buying, despite the other fuel supplier, Total, still having sufficient supply for their retail partners. And the National Reserve Bank issues a warning to businesses as counterfeit banknotes discovered to be in circulation. We'll have these and more stories coming up later on in this bulletin, as well as the latest in sports and the weather update to wrap up this hour's news package. Now for the news in detail, I'm Popua Aho. Their Majesties King Tupou VI and Queen Anaspau visited the Nuku'alofa Museum at Tupou College yesterday, where they got to view the Tongan historical artifacts on display at the museum's special exhibit for the 150th Constitution anniversary.
The special exhibition Tonga Whanua Munuia was opened earlier this month at Tupou College as part of the celebrations of the 150th anniversary of the Tongan Constitution. Ana Atiola from Tupou College explained the exhibition included items that were gifted from Her Majesty Queen Salote Tupou III and members of nobility in the early 1900s. Atiola says the Tongan koloa preserved at the museum were collected before 1928, with the most recent addition to the museum's treasures being writings from current Tupou College students. Previously, students had not been allowed into the museum, but this year with this special exhibition, the students were given the opportunity to view the museum artifacts and use the observations to support their studies, especially in deepening their understanding of Tonga's history. The students were encouraged to submit their own writings for a museum collection, a poem or a short story about their personal understanding of the Constitution and how they find it useful for their future. One of the students whose writing is featured in this exhibition, Isake Eke Jr., shared his gratitude for the opportunity to have a piece of his writing now preserved in the museum.
With God and the law, Constitution of Tonga has helped me to be able to achieve my goal, and God shielded my will and my hope for the future. My second stanza, it talks about how Tonga's law acts to protects our country, our goods, our history. It protects our monarchy and also the people of Tonga. My future will help for nobles to honor and respect. The second line in my stanza talks about my future is to glorify God, glorify the people, and the nobles of Tonga. The third stanza that just talks about the main thing of the Constitution, like what it really is. It rose to act, I believe it was 1875, and it talks about for wisdom. Back then, our forefathers said that, Tupou Rocky, George Tupou I, he said that our people lack wisdom. So that is something that I cherish on this year, from the beginning of this year. My goal, for my personal goal, find knowledge. Knowledge you cannot buy. It says in the book of Proverbs, knowledge is earned by discipline. So that's what helped me make this third stanza. The last stanza is more of a closing of my poem. It says, though challenges comes and goes, challenges comes, it faces you, it prepares you, shapes you up to be able to become the person you want to be, but God keeps us high. He keeps us tight. He keeps us in His presence. He held us tight, and He protects us. With the journey where we go, there's highs and lows. God still keeps us in His merciful love. And then the last part is distraction. Shelters us tight to train and to fight. So for me as a teenager, I always get distractions when I go home. I don't want to go study, don't want to look at my goals, just want to go home, just want to play, go on my bicycles, just do all that my mind wants to know. But I can't focus on concentrating on my education and trying to build a happy future for the Kingdom of Tonga.
He recited his poem, sharing the meaning behind his writing, with the hope to encourage his fellow students and other young Tongans.
For the king, before he came to the museum, I stood up there in the little corner over there. It's what I did last week on Friday. I felt nervous. Then I just stood there and did a little prayer. That prayer was just talking about how may the Lord give me the confidence to speak to the king, and it filled me with confidence, enough confidence to talk about what this great country holds, and the important thing that we don't get to appreciate stuff unless it's taken away or we lose it. So then today I felt confident in God, confident in Christ. When the king came and I explained to him about all the history of Tonga, I had the confidence and enough bravery to talk to him about all these wonderful things.
At this special visit from their majesties, students also got the opportunity to deliver performances, including His Royal Highness Prince Taufu Ahau Manumatahongo. Speaking for Radio and Television Tonga News, I'm Agnes Wambua.
Pacific Energy is the only fuel supplier that is running low on petrol supplies at the moment. The company has confirmed that they have run out of fuel and they are unsure when they will be able to refuel, so they will not be able to continue supplying their retail partners as normal. This is the cause of the misconception that Tonga is facing another fuel shortage, creating long queues at gas stations as people rush to panic buy petrol. However, Pacific Energy is only one of the fuel providers in Tonga, and the other, Total, still has sufficient fuel supplies for their retail partners. According to Pacific Energy, their short supply is due to a supply chain issue which is preventing the delivery of fuel to Tonga. They had been expecting a supply ship to arrive this week, but due to issues with the oil tanker, it is unable to depart from Fiji. In their statement, it is not clear when the fuel tanker is then expected to arrive in Tonga, but it is understood that this delay has affected many of their retail partners' operations. One of these being the Nuku'alofa gas station in Pahu, who have already depleted their petrol supply, resulting in their operations being drastically affected. The National Reserve Bank of Tonga has discovered counterfeit banknotes in circulation that appear similar to the real notes but are printed on material different from the genuine banknotes.
The National Reserve Bank of Tonga has issued a warning to businesses to be extra cautious and vigilant when checking the money they receive, as there is an increasing chance that counterfeit notes may be circulating within Tonga. In a statement from the National Reserve Bank of Tonga, it warns that the counterfeit notes discovered so far include 100 pa'anga, 50 pa'anga, and 5 pa'anga banknotes. The fake 100 pa'anga notes that were found are printed on plastic or polymer material, whereas the genuine 100 pa'anga notes are printed on paper. The counterfeit 50 pa'anga notes found also appear to be made of paper and are slightly smaller in the size compared to the genuine 50 pa'anga notes. Meanwhile, the fake 5 pa'anga notes have been found to be printed on paper, whereas the genuine 5 pa'anga notes are made of the new polymer design similar to that used in New Zealand bank notes. The Reserve Bank also noted the continued use of banknotes bearing the image of the late King George V, but says these have already been officially withdrawn and are no longer accepted as legal tender.
A Climate Risk and Early Warning Systems or CRUISE Strategy 2030 was launched this week during the COP30 in Brazil, which was attended by the Principal Ozone Officer of the Department of Climate Change under the Ministry of MEDEC. At the program, Aloisio Fifita reaffirmed Tonga's commitment to the Early Warnings for All initiative and emphasized the importance of continued investment and collaboration.
In a press release from the Department of Climate Change, this commitment to the CRUISE strategy and early warnings for all is part of the ministry's vision that early warnings must reach every household, every village, and every island, so that no one in Tonga or the Pacific is left behind. Tonga remains steadfast in advancing national, regional, and global cooperation to strengthen climate resilience and disaster risk reduction. Aloisio Fifita said that with the shared knowledge, mutual trust, and strong partnerships that they have, they are confident that the Pacific can forge a safer, more resilient future and create an environment that is better prepared for any natural disaster and climate change. Fifita acknowledged the World Meteorological Organization, CRUISE Secretariat, and international and regional partners for their continued support to Tonga and the wider Pacific region in strengthening early warning systems and enhancing disaster preparedness. Speaking for Radio and Television Tonga News, I'm Agnes Wamboa.
And there are concerns from the Tonga Accountants Society about the use of artificial intelligence or AI by students studying in the accounting field, as this could pose a risk to the standard of quality and the knowledge and skills of students who will then enter the profession.
In an interview with Radio Tonga News, the president of the Tonga Accountants Society, Kilifi Heimuli, said that accounting work naturally relies on human knowledge since it requires careful management of money and the ability of create original ideas in accounting practices. He explained that the growing trend of students relying on AI programs in their studies does not bode well for their professions. Heimuli said that the Tonga Accountants Society is open to helping students studying in the accounting field, but urges them not to rely on AI. but there are concerns about maintaining the proper standard of knowledge and skills for students who will form the future workforce of Tonga. He adds that the aim of the Tonga Accountant Society is to prepare the country's future generations to have the proper knowledge and skills, and not to depend on technology, as over-reliance on computer-based knowledge could lead to mistakes or poor decision-making.
Now taking a look at the latest weather updates presented by Gary Vitte.
Welcome to our weather forecast. Here is our main story for this evening. Expect an active trough to move over all of Tonga, especially for this Friday up to Monday next week. And also please take note, there will be a chance of muddy ground condition over our areas. And also this is a great chance to collect more waters. From the satellite image for today, mainly fine weather all over the group, apart from a few showers in some places. And the maximum temperature was around 28 to 30 degrees Celsius. A light wind was prevails over our area as we came along today. By looking at the Pacifics for the next 5 days, an active trough from the southwest of the group expect to move into our area, especially this Friday, and it will be mostly cloudy with occasional rains as we're moving on for this weekend up to Monday next week. Here is our forecast for this evening and tonight. There will be a chance of showers of rain, especially for the areas of Tongatapu and Ewa, including Hawaii and also Waba'u, mainly fine weather towards to the New West. A lowest temperature of 22 to 23 degrees Celsius for Tongatapu and Ewa, and 24 for Waba'u and Hawaii, and 25 for Nuku'alofa and Tongatapu. A moderate wind is expected to the areas of the New West with a wind speed of 15 knots, and also the rest of Tonga will be around 10 knots with the light wind. As we're moving along for tomorrow, mainly fine weather all over Tonga, apart from cloudy periods towards to the areas of Hawaii and also Tongatapu and Ewa. And the maximum temperature will be around 30 degrees Celsius towards to the New West, and the rest of Tonga will be around 28 to 29 degrees Celsius. And also a wind speed of 15 knots expect to prevail over Tonga for tomorrow. The tide predictions: high tide will be at 7:30 p.m. this evening, and the low tide will be at 25 minutes to 2 a.m. midnight tonight. Sunday and moon, sunrise will be at 8 minutes to 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and the moonrise will be at 25 minutes past 1 a.m. midnight tonight. By looking at the 5 days outlook for Nuku'alofa, mainly fine weather for tomorrow for Nuku'alofa, and also please expect there will be a chance of occasional rain, especially from Friday, continue up to Monday next week. And the maximum temperature will be around 26 to 29 degrees Celsius. Thank you for listening and good evening.
Thank you to Gary and the team at the Tonga Met Service for that latest weather updates. That wraps up this hour's news package with radio and television Tonga News for the hour. But before we part, here's a final look at tonight's top stories. Their Majesties King Tupo VI and Queen Nanaspa all visit the Nuku'alofa Museum at Tupo College to view their special exhibition for the 150th Constitution anniversary. Pacific Energy runs short on fuel supply, generating panic buying, despite the other fuel supplier, Total, still having sufficient supply for their retail partners. And the National Reserve Bank issues a warning to businesses as counterfeit banknotes discovered to be in circulation. That was the latest news of radio and television Tonga News for tonight. Thank you for joining us and have a good evening.